Hey guys. My cord. Hello. Happy weekday. I don't know when I'm posting this. I don't know why I said that. Another day, another album to react to. We're sticking with 2023. Going back to the wheel, the random generator. I figured I'd pick another random album. There's so many to pick from. Let's see if it's a good album. All right. Got the generator, got the list. 1 to 593. Let's see what it'll be for me to listen to. 414, another one towards the bottom. 414. Hotel Spojar, Škvíry and Spoje. This was ranked 30th by The Wire. Well, I guess The Wire is really hard to find online. It doesn't seem like they wrote anything about their list. They just put out their top 50, and I pulled up their Bandcamp here for Hotel Spojar by Škvíry and Spoje. Czech and Slovak experimental improv scene is currently experiencing a thriving renaissance. Among these ensembles is Škvíry and SNS, a Czech and Slovak quartet that has been an integral part of this enchanting music environment for the past 10 years. This looks like something I have never heard anything like before, so you never know what you're going to get when you spin the wheel. Holy crap, we got 20 minuters. I scrolled right past the track list before. This is an hour and a half worth of material. I'm jazzed. I cannot wait to hear. This might be a challenging one. Experimental improv music. I mean, let's see what the Czech and Slovak scene have in store for us. Hey guys, post-reaction Alex here. I'm older and wiser. I just wanted to come here before I did the actual reaction footage. Just say this one is weird. This one probably warrants a bit more of a video explanation than I was equipped during this reaction. When I listened to this album, it's honestly more akin to watching somebody read a novel than listen to something like Yule or Jane Remover. It's a very introspective experience to listen to an album like this. I really like the first track. That would be my takeaway here. If you're going to listen to any of this, definitely listen to Cracks. Really interesting listen. Not one I would have considered as a best of 2023, just because I don't really think of it as in the same league as the other album. This album's been sort of living in my head since I did this reaction, so I do kind of want to discuss experimental music a little bit more. Maybe that'll be like a different video, but yeah, it's fascinating to me, and I don't think my reaction did it justice because I wasn't ready for what my ears were about to be hit with. Here it is. We've got a hearty 208 plays. Buckle in, get some snacks, get some coffee. Let's knock this one out. Cracks. The production on this right off the bat is striking. This doesn't feel like a live improv. It feels like something that was produced. Kind of getting like A'sOTY vibes, or Mouse on Mars. It is. I like this intro so far. I'm gonna pause real quick. I like the. There's this xylophone in the background going do 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 do. It's the only piece of this song so far that has any sort of semblance of rhythm or melody. And so you find yourself listening in on this xylophone, and then the xylophone sort of gets lost in the background. It gets softer and softer. The guy's just, it's like he's playing with Q-tips on the xylophone. That's how soft it is. But you're focusing in on it, and it's sort of getting lost in the crowd. You still see the xylophone, but then before you know it, you're surrounded by all of these other sounds and words. The xylophone is gone, but you're lost in this music. So it's a really cool way of drawing the listener in. You have a little through line, a little like tubular bells, a little bit of tubular bells in there, to bring you into the not by being not so experimental. They draw the people into the experimental side. So you can still listen for the xylophone. I still hear it back there. What's it doing? Yeah, I am really impressed with the restraint that this band is showing, and it becomes clear how much they're holding back with the percussion. The drumming in this is, again, it's like they're drumming with Q-tips instead of mallets. It's like a rumbling. It's like there's a fault line, but it's not quite an earthquake yet. You're standing on unstable ground with these drums, and everything else that's looking on feels like it's looking on with unease. There's these little backtracked sounds. I don't know how to describe them, but it sounds like a car screeching to the halt a little bit, like feels like people are skidding in their stops, like they're stopping in place. The xylophone is still there, like, I don't know what's do 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 do. Yeah, like nervously tapping along. That ground might collapse. There might be that earthquake if the drummer swaps out with actual mallets and starts pounding on that shit. I think this could have a really cool build up and like a really rewarding payoff. Feels like birds watching overhead through these violins. And now that anticipation has been completely distilled into one note, one line. There's still that. Now it feels present. Now it feels like we're in the calm before the storm. Besides that, there's so many cool elements to this. They really throw in a lot to this song, despite it not really getting to a loud volume. Okay, now it's transitioned from the looming threat that everybody was nervous about. I was thinking it was going to be like an earthquake or some sort of earth-shattering event, but now it's like somebody's riding into town on a horse, and it's like one of the horsemen of the apocalypse. It's like they're bringing blight with them, and you could hear everything dying around them as they enter the town. What a really fascinating way to create this imagery on the fly, because it's such a crystal clear image in my head right now of somebody slowly walking into town. Everybody is like looking behind the shutters. They're like super scared and they're like peeking out, and they see this guy slowly walking in, and like all the flowers around him die as he enters the town. The wind chimes. It's the one sound that can be heard. Everything else is standing perfectly still. What the fuck? God, wow. This is crazy. And I looked at the name of the song again. And I was like, oh, Cracks. Yeah, of course. Yeah, they're on the exact same. That is the imagery they're trying to portray. Imagery is so crystal clear. So in that section, it's like the guy that came into town, and you know, you could hear him walking. All you could hear for a couple minutes was just his footsteps and a wind chime, and then even the wind chime went away, and then all you could hear was him in the center of town. And it's like he turned and looked at you, and that's when everything started glitching. His eyes turned to like TV static, and his mouth opened, and then like cracks came forth from him and came to you. It's like it attacked you. That's when everything was like glitching out, and then you could hear the wind chime come back again, and it's like you were coming back to reality after that like moment of intense connection with this evil character. This, I will say already, for album of the year, this is best imagery in an instrumental performance. The idea that I got the feeling that they were creating a song about fault lines and cracks forming, with it, they've created the sound of cracks without physically like cracking ice or cracking a mirror. So now what I'm feeling is it's sort of you're back. Like, I feel like the guy that walked into town is gone and you're back to normal life, but everything that was established at the beginning of this song, that little xylophone line, remember that? The do 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 do. Everything was nervous, but it was like a normal world. Now you're back in your familiar world, but everything is twisted. Everything is wrong. That xylophone line is now disjointed and weird. Even though he's gone, the fact that he had on you is noticeable and tangible. It's made everything warped. What was that? It's like a siren. Yo, we're getting a little post-rock here. Oh, okay. Feeling a little Godspeed, you Black Emperor. Okay. Alright. Only took 15 minutes. It's actually enjoyable to listen to. But, up until this point, it's really, like I said, it's not been an album. This has been a performance. But now, to hear these guitars coming in, and there was like a little bit of like a feedback line earlier, they're sort of abandoning strictly creating music for imagery, and now they're moving more towards emotion. We get the story. Here's how it emotionally impacts everything. Nothing's gonna be the same after this. This guitar is like my shame and my sorrow. It is so satisfying to hear an actual like post-rock core now, as opposed to before when it was just fragments and loose sort of, you have to put the pieces together yourself. Now it's, it's so much easier to listen to when it's just relating to an emotional aspect. How is that not the end of the song? So, all right. I'm kind of like amazed that as an improvisation, the band just knew to continue with that song. But now I'm getting the imagery again. It feels like when the guitar stopped playing and it got to that end point, it felt like we were like zooming out from the town. Like that was the end of their story. That's what happened to the protagonist. They were in this town. It was a familiar spot. Then that guy, the horseman of the apocalypse, came and fucked everything up. He created those cracks. He killed all the flowers. He's just a being of evil. And so that's what happened to that town. Now we're following the horseman. We hear those same sounds again. It sounds like the horse slowly plodding along, and the xylophones. It's like he's moving on to his next town. All right, on to track number 2. A nice short one this time. Joints. The cups. Does anybody get Breath of the Wild vibes from this? Alright, that was 12-1. Very skeletal. It went from sounded like a band tuning and warming up before practice to Breath of the Wild to sounding like the Wii menu a little bit. I do wonder, they're so closely related. It sounded so Breath of the Wild-esque. The soundtrack and the instrumentation was so integral to the gameplay. I wonder if this style of music was an inspiration to Breath of the Wild or the other way around. This Czech and Slovakian improv has been growing and brewing over the last 10 years, which would be right square in time to inspire the music for Breath of the Wild, if that's the case. Or it could be that they were taking inspiration from that game. I would not be surprised by that either. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes this experimental noise improv music works. It all comes together, and it feels like they have a story that they're trying to tell. Like, I get it. But sometimes it just sounds like a bunch of people that don't know how to play instruments are sitting in a room playing instruments that they don't know how to play. There's one part of the song where a bass came in, or like a cello, for like 3 notes, and I was like, oh yeah, let's get into like this would be a sick transition into like a cool jazzy groove, like a boom 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 boom. And then I remembered, oh yeah, this is an improv experimental band, they don't do that. And then didn't hear the bass again for the rest of the song. That was good. It was good. It was catchy. I did want to say the past two songs, three songs since 12-1, the most impressive aspect of this band has been the percussion. The percussionist has been killing it. On 12-1, the drumming was insanely good. It was so like it was like those street drummers that drum on the plastic buckets and they just make a whole bunch of noise, but it's cool. Between the drumming and the xylophone, there was a constant movement that made sense and was predictable. That was what I was hoping it would be. If this were another type of music, this was like post-rock, stoner even, drone, any of those types of music, this would have led to an explosive climax. They didn't go that route. They passed the torch around to the different instruments a bit. The guitarist had several changes. It started out as sort of like a Friday Night Lights sort of explosion in the sky sort of guitar, but then that became angrier and more of a growl, and then eventually it just turned into a dull roar. The trumpets came and went, and very similar to the other tracks on here where there's little inserts of different instruments and experimentations, but in this one it definitely felt like there was a known central theme. Yeah, really a rewarding final track. Could have gone without the 12-1, 12-2, and definitely without Room 66. All in all, I enjoy this album. I definitely liked Cracks the best. That was the most musical journey of all of these songs. Joints and Ascent definitely had their moments. Ascent was a really strong closer, but it was almost like safe. Based off of some of the other like crazy sounds that I've heard on this album, I would have expected a little more experimentation, surprisingly. If you have the time to set an hour aside, even just 20 minutes and listen to Cracks all the way through, I would recommend it. It was a lot of fun. Right, thanks a lot, guys. Bye. Ooh, leave a like.